141 years. Political parties have emerged and disappeared, leaders have come and gone, and governments have changed. Constant in every case, however, is the principle that Canada's government has always been chosen by the people.
Koda and I have been together since he was a little puppy. He's my best four-legged friend I've ever had. He's in the prime of his life, and he's up for this walk across the country with me.
By government. A government should not be able to just dictate.
I'm trying to create awareness and bring dialogue and get people talking about some of the social issues of the day that people seem to want to ignore. The one that I would like to see addressed immediately is a national public inquiry into the missing or murdered Aboriginal women in this country. Why are these people doing this to each other? Can you eat it or just pack it away and drop it? According to them, it looks about halfway.
And following the light of this democratic tradition, Canadians have built one of the most peaceful and prosperous countries the world has ever known.
On New Year's Eve, I went into the sweat, and I sweat 4 rounds, and then I fasted for 4 days. At 5 o'clock on the 4th of January, the first words I spoke after meditating for 4 days was to my dog. I said, "Koda, we're walking to Ottawa." I actually left on March 26th, which was my 63rd birthday. It's a beautiful cart to push. It has no resistance on the level. It's got a handbrake, so when I'm going downhill, it doesn't pull me down. The only time I have a little bit of effort with it is when I'm pushing it uphill, because I'm carrying probably 150, 160 pounds on it. No, we just walk until we start our walk, usually between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'll walk till 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yesterday, in favor of the province's right to strip class size and composition clauses out of the teacher's contract.
On October the 14th, for the 40th time since Confederation, Canadians voted in a national general election. We are honored that you returned our government to office with a strengthened mandate to lead this great country through the most difficult global economic crisis.
When I was meditating, these are some of the things that I thought about. No greenhouse gas and carbon emissions regulations, the muzzling of our scientific community, the lack of clean potable water in all communities, the gutting of fisheries and its regulations, making it difficult for some people to vote. Pipelines and rail services are self-regulated and inspected, the lengthening gap between the rich and the poor. No label regulations regarding GMOs in our food supply, the underfunding of food inspectors, no federal inquiry into the missing or murdered Aboriginal women. The gutting of environmental oversight, the lack of protection for endangered species, the absurd pension plans for the MPs, the incarceration of people based on policy, not criminality, the inadequate minimum wage, an affordable daycare system for all families, the Senate and the Gong Show that is question period, the aquaculture industry and its effects on wild Pacific salmon, the collapsing infrastructure across the country, the funding of Aboriginal education and its shortfalls, our national treasure, the CBC, cutbacks for home mail delivery, the export of raw logs instead of milling them in Canada, corporate welfare and subsidies for large companies.
This is a pivotal moment in our history. We Canadians are inheritors of a great legacy, and it is our duty to strengthen and protect it for the generations still to come.
I usually end up in the local coffee shop and hand out a few posters and get people talking and hand out my cards, and so far the response has been quite positive.
Tonight, I pledge to you that Canada's government will use every legal means at our disposal to protect our democracy, to protect our economy, and to protect Canada.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the prairies. I mean, they don't have the mountains like we do in BC, but they certainly have their own beauty and their own space, and I'm looking forward to crossing the prairies again and meeting some of the people along the way, you know. It is the breadbasket of this country. I think even our farmers are being screwed by policies that are brought down by the current government.
And we may not like this and wish it would go away, but it is not going to go away.
The poor inadequate funding for our military vets. They always talk about the deficit, but nobody mentions the debt. The high cost of food basics for our northern communities. The lack of affordable housing for all people, including the poor. The long wait list for people seeking medical care and attention. And inadequate equipment and training for the RCMP.
The reality is we are going to have to confront it.
This country is in dire need of some kind of change, and change begins with one person and one step.
What's to stop this bill from being used to spy on the government's political enemies?